Chapter 5. "You wee devil!" His mother threw herself at him and hugged him close. Col could feel her tears against his face. "Ma'am!" His embarrassed voice was like a croak. He pushed her away and she took a seat beside him, sniffing quietly into a handkerchief. Mungo was there too, standing grim-faced at the bottom of the bed. "Hi, bruv." Col smiled at him. Mungo didn't smile back. "What the hell were you thinking about?" He snapped at him angrily. "You could have died. They thought you had died. Do you know what you've put your mam through? And for what? To save a poncy wee snob. You risked your life for that." Mam touched his arm. "Shh, Mungo. Leave the boy be. He's been through enough." I know I was stupid." Col stuttered out the words, hurt at his brother's attitude. "You don't go near that loch again. Hear me?" Mungo came close to him. Said again, fiercely, "Hear me? I don't want you anywhere near that loch." Col nodded. "Mungo was worried about you as well, Col," Mam said softly. Of course he was, Col thought. But why so angry? The answer, it seemed, came with Mungo's next words. "Do you think these people would have done the same for you?" Cleo came in then, still smiling. "Feel better now your mum's here, Col?" Mam clutched at his hand. A boy always needs his mother. Cleo came and fussed around him. "Just got to give you your medicine, won't be a minute." She wasn't. She even made the medicine taste good. Col smiled. Before she left, she offered her mother a cup of tea. Mother nodded. Nurse Cleo turned to Mungo then. "And what about you, Mr. McCann? Tea for you as well?" "That'd be lovely, darling." He winked at her. "Unless you've got anything stronger." When she'd gone, Mungo turned to Col. "Got to be nice to them sometimes, eh? At least they make good nurses." Col was suddenly embarrassed by his brother. He hoped he would never talk like that in front of Cleo. He'd never want her to be hurt. Yet he was surprised at himself too. Not too long ago he would have said exactly the same thing. He was glad it wasn't Cleo who brought in the tea. Instead it was a nursing assistant, a man he'd never seen before. In his wake came more visitors. The Sampson family. Dominic burst into the room with an excited shout of, "Col, I've brought my mum and dad. They've been dying to meet you." He was dragging in a woman, her strawberry blonde hair cut into a soft bob. She was wearing a rich-looking camel hair coat. Close behind her was Dominic's father. He was well dressed too. Dark blue overcoat, long scarf, his hair tinged with grey. Col thought he looked a little bit like Sean Connery. Dominic dived onto the bed. "This is Col," he said proudly, as if Col was an exhibit in a museum. Col noticed that Mungo had taken a step back, was almost ignoring them. And because of that, Mam kept her eyes glued to the floor. Mrs. Sampson stepped forward. A faint waft of flowery perfume drifted about her. "I don't know how to thank you, Col. If it hadn't been for you, we would have lost the most precious thing that we have." Dominic bounced again. "That's me." "Because of your stupidity, Dominic, Col might not have been alive. Do you realise that?" His mother's angry tone made Dominic's smile disappear. "Because you never obeyed rules, because you were stupid enough to go out onto that ice, an innocent boy could have died." She looked now directly at Mam. Mam had no choice but to look up at her. "I think you must resent us, Mrs. McCann. I know how I'd feel." Mam nodded. "I'm glad you realise that, Mrs. Sampson. If I'd lost my boy..." She let the words trail off and tightened her grip on Col's hand. I know. I'm sorry. We're interrupting your visit. But we wanted to come in and thank you personally." For the first time, Mr. Sampson spoke. If there's anything you need, call. Just let me know. Anything. Mungo butted in. If Cole needs anything, I can supply it. Mr. Sampson looked at Mungo, and Cole could see that Dominic's dad, his whole family, knew all about the McCanns and their reputation, especially Mungo's. Of course, I'm sorry. Mr. Sampson's voice was soft when he answered, but we are so grateful. We feel there must be something we could do to thank Cole. There was an awkward silence until Mrs. Sampson took Dominic by the hand and pulled him off the bed. I think we should leave Cole with his family now. Can't I stay? Dominic's eyes pleaded with Cole, but his mother was having none of it. No, you cannot. I think you've given Cole quite enough trouble. As Dominic was dragged out, he called back, I'll come in and see you later, okay? He didn't wait for an answer. He seemed sure this was something Cole would look forward to. I'm only down the corridor if you need me. Mrs. Sampson backed out behind him. I'm afraid he means it, Cole. But if he's being any bother, just let me know. They seem like a nice family, Ma'am said when they had gone. I'm never going to get rid of that Dominic. He thinks I'm a hero. Cole wanted Mungo to smile at him, just once, but he didn't. Instead, he growled, Do you know this has been a front-page story for the past 2 days? We've had reporters at the house and everything. I don't like it, Cole. Mungo didn't like any kind of publicity. Although up to now the only thing he'd ever had was bad publicity. Arrest, breach of the peace, housebreaking, not proven verdicts from local juries, too scared to commit him. It's a 9-day wonder, Mungo, Mum said. It was a brave thing you did, Cole. But she said it softly, almost as if she didn't want Mungo to hear. It was a difficult visit, and Cole was almost glad to see them go. But he wasn't alone for long. Cole had settled down in bed, sleep beginning to steal over him, when he had a feeling that someone was in the room with him. He opened his eyes slowly. A young man, maybe the same age as Mungo, stood beside the bed. He looked dirty, unshaven, as if he hadn't washed for a while. His dark hair was long and unkempt. Cole sat up. Who are you? The young man shrugged. My name is Claus. Does not matter. His accent was funny. German? Dutch? I came to see if you were all right, if you really existed. A McCann who saves the life of another. A miracle, surely. Now Cole was beginning to get angry. He wasn't going to have a stranger come in here and insult his family. What do you mean by that? I was there, at the lake. I could not believe what you did. It was very brave. Now Cole really was angry. You were there, watching, and you didn't help. You're sick, pal. The young man shook his head. I could do nothing. Believe me. But you did not need help. You were amazing. Cole raised his voice. I did need help. I almost drowned. I'm going to tell the cops about you. Claus shook his head. No, please, no police. Not anyone. I should not be here. He looked frightened. Why shouldn't you be here? Cole asked. Again, Claus shook his head. It's not right that I should involve. Is that the word? Involve? I should not involve you. He was backing towards the door. I just wanted to make sure you were all right. And what makes you think I won't tell anybody about you? You didn't do anything to help me. Claus stood for a moment by the door. Because I think you're a good person, he said softly. Then he was gone.